Hey guys, welcome back. This is the second video in our 4-valve V10 build. As we showed in the last video, we got the heads back from the shop, the EDM shop. This is a 1-cylinder and a 2-cylinder scrap piece that we have. The plan now is to do practice welding to learn how to weld really and learn the details of what we need to do before we actually cut on or weld on the real parts. So by the end of this video, we should have a full set of V10 heads ready to go to the machine shop for finished machining. We're going to have to modify the coil covers for the V10, the valve covers for the V10 heads, and then a small detail. We're going to have to modify these cam bearing caps to work for the V10 cylinder head. Alright, so we got one of the pieces of head bolted up to the block here. The first thing we're going to work on this practice head is sealing these coolant ports. Like we said before, we have to make sure the coolant doesn't mix with any of the oil cavities or the oil lines. So the way we're going to do that is take some of this 1/16 angle aluminum, cut these to shape to fit these, then we'll TIG around those in this hole at the bottom. Once that is complete, we'll water check it to make sure it's not leaking. For these oil pressure feed lines, cut these open. We're going to create some angle caps, and that will weld all the way around to seal these passages.
What would you have to do to prevent that? Could you heat up more on the block, instead of angling it this way, you might need to rotate it 180, angle it towards the head, you know what I mean?
Boys, I think we did it.
First bead laid.
Actual bead.
What did you change?
I think I was going too hot, too long.
That's what she said.
Michael, please. Please.
Mwah!
Now I think we're gonna have to grind it to see if it actually penetrated enough. We got these pieces cleaned up. We only plugged one of the ports, so you can come see here. It's not amazing. We learned a couple things. One, our fill aluminum was too thin, and then two, it was too high too, right? Like it needed to be sunk down deeper.
Yeah. So we're gonna chamfer it more maybe next time.
Yeah, see,
We need a closer fit, right? So we don't want the big gaps.
So what happened here is this didn't get filled low enough once we ground it. We could go back and weld it, but this is just a test piece, so
At least the concept we know it's good.
yeah, it's
so
gonna work.
theoretically, this should be covered for the actual heads. So the next step now is welding both halves together.
It's a late night on a Saturday. Trying to welding those plates. I think we have some pictures of them. We could put them up. What we got going on right now. Been practicing. So this is plate number 1. This is the hardest one. The reason for it being hard is its inside corners. I really have a difficult time trying to figure out how to fill those in. So I just keep throwing stuff on there. And as you can see, this is where I started, and as I progress, I think I'm getting a little better, a little hang of it, learning how to melt inside the corner, clean it up, let the torch do some of the work, put a little more stick out. So that's one plate. Then the other plate that is sealing up the other side, inside corner. This guy right here, this one's pretty easy, it's just flat. But yeah, once that's done, all the exterior perimeter will be welded. And we're probably gonna have to cover this with some tape, the surface, probably the exhaust and the intake side too. And then fill it with water and see if we have a leak anywhere.
Just don't spill. How much water are you adding?
I don't know. Till it leaks.
Okay, that's good now.
Okay.
Where's it coming from? Can you tell?
No.
Oh, it's coming from the well.
Is it? Those come from the.
Yeah, I think we can fix it. It's got so we got a leak here in this corner, which is pretty. It's pretty obvious that yeah, that's not sealed there. Here's okay.
Nothing at the bottom, it looks like. I think it's just dripping down. Right?
Well, there's water in these too. So we got there, that one, and then. Yeah, don't mind the leak here. Something on the bottom here, so I think I'm just gonna have to run. Well, if we cared, we would just run with the torch over this and remelt it. Can't see at the bottom, everything is leaking there, so maybe masking tape isn't the best sealing mechanism.
So, okay, that is honestly good enough that we're confident this is gonna work now, right?
Well, yeah, oil will stay inside. We could keep oil in there.
Yeah. So, this is proof of concept complete. Now we brought the real heads. We're gonna start cleaning them up and get those ready to get welded. Alright, you ready?
Alright, bend over. Alright, so we're gonna shove water in this one just to fill it up here. And this one really shouldn't have a leak unlike the last one.
You can see there's one there, one there. There we go. No leaks.
So we'll leave this overnight. Alright, so we finished welding all the plates on, and then we filled them with water and let them sit overnight to see if any leaks. And we don't have any leaks.
Alright, so we were having issues yesterday with getting the cams to sit on the journals properly. You know, you can see we shimmed the head that was redone previously to try and get it to be flat with the other half, but we still couldn't get it perfectly. So we talked about yesterday, I think, about using like gear tooth paint when you're setting up your diffs to figure out which of the journals is off from the others, right? So you can see here we painted the journals from the cams, and when you set it down and you spin it, these 4 are getting paint transferred from the cams, which means they're sitting on it. This one isn't, it's completely dry, or it's got a little bit of paint on it, but that means that this is too low, this corner. And it's a very slight angle because obviously these are getting some paint, but ideally they all get the same level of paint transfer, and that way you know they're all touching good. So what we're gonna do is take this off, shim this a little more, just this corner, and try it again, and hopefully we get even pattern all throughout. And we're ready to go. Alright, so where are we at?
Well, we've got the shim stacks in, we put the cams in. Now we're tightening the head down, and I think it
Feels much better than before.
yeah, way better than it did before.
Oh, thank you.
So I think we're gonna weld it now.
Time for welding.
Alright, so we got most of the head welded together. So this cam, if you listen quietly, hear that? That's good. That's the sound of a good. You can see how freely this spins. This one kind of misaligned with the heat. You can hear there's some play. Somehow this side of the head got lower as we were welding. So our plan now is to take off the head, shim this side of the head a little more, re-torque it back down, and then continue welding. And maybe as it heats up, it will help pull this side higher, and then put this cam back in alignment.
Alright, new day. So we just finished welding up the sides. You can see here, this side is done. This other side is done. Probably have to go back a couple times here because it cracked a little bit. But the next step now is we're going inside of the heads. So we're going to start by welding the oil passages on the inside, and then I'm probably go ahead and cut some caps so that we can close it all off.
welding the heads. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab the valve covers from the basement, get those cut, and get ready for weld.
Alright, we just finished welding up one of the valve covers, so everything looks like it's okay. It welded a little easier than the cylinder head, I think. Now we'll be working on the coil cover, and then we have the other side to do. So we're going to leak check this one too, make sure everything looks good. After weeks of cutting, grinding, and welding,
We finally have 2 fully welded heads.
Alright, we got the parts put on the block here. We got the coil covers welded. The valve covers are here done. And then as we said before, the heads are both complete. And this engine is massive.
Look how long it is.
That's what she said!
It takes up a lot of real estate. We'll show you some parts in here too that we had to weld.
Yeah, so the cam caps, these are fully welded now. You can see we got all 4. You start with a 3-piece. So this is done. We're still gonna finish welding the second one, but this is called clean. Just it's ready to get tacked. So even though we did all we could, we torqued the heads down to the block. We used the camshafts. We used the cam caps, torqued them all down. The heads did end up warping enough that there's a little bit of resistance on the camshafts. So that, along with the fact that these cam caps from the donor engines are not very, they're pretty rough. We've decided that we're going to get the cam journals line board, and we're going to install cam bearings. So the next step is calling a bunch of machine shops to see who can line bore the heads and deck the heads. So hopefully for next video we'll have fully machined set of heads ready to be bolted to the block. We can reassemble them and start compression testing.